Okay, so this stage now is for the backing of the bow. It's the most important step, and essentially we're going to be applying that and that on here to create this, the backing, which is what allows the bow to be able to take a lot of tension when it's being strung. So I'm just going to outline all the things that you need for this step. You need one plastic cup, 2 sears. You need a cup of hot water because you're going to put the epoxy in there so it can stay nice and liquid. You're going to need 2 stirrers, 1 dowel, which will later become an arrow, cable ties, the hacksaw blade, and a razor blade, and of course 2 gloves to protect your hands. So we back the bow in 2 stages. We do one side first, let that epoxy set, and then we do the second one later on. Once we've backed one side of it, the sear is attached to the end and secured with the cable ties, and we ensure that it's nice and straight as it's setting. So first step is to remove the tape, which has been protecting the back of the bow. Note this is called the back of the bow. Even though it might seem to be on the front, it's called the back of the bow. So take the tape off and put it somewhere safe where you can use it later on, because we're going to use this tape later on. I've set up my workstation here with an old towel, and I've put a small cushion under both ends of the limb so that it's nice and easy for me to access. I can get in underneath and it will sit firmly. So taking those 2 bits off. So it's useful, maybe not essential, but useful to rough up the back of the bow. This provides a better contact surface for when the epoxy is setting to it. So take the hacksaw blade and just rub it along just like this. So as you can see, it's roughing up the surface of the wood, and this will allow for a better contact. Okay, so the next side of this is to remove the Dacron. Make sure you use the full reel, the complete reel here. Now cut a small bit of tape. Place it there. Now to try and find where it starts. There we go, found it. So tape it approximately this far down, tape one side of it to the belly of the bow. Now what we're trying to do here is create long lines of the Dacron so that it will back smoothly and evenly across the back of the bow. So this next step here takes a little bit of time, but it's very necessary. So loop it over the ends of the bow like this. So you're effectively creating loops around the bow. It doesn't have to be too tight, just enough that it's firm. So put one finger inside there like that. That should allow you to hold it up well. So keep doing this until you've looped the whole lot over. When you get to the end, see if you can loop it across. So this one is pull it back around. Okay. And where's my razor blade? And cut it about there. And then you're going to tie these two ends together so you've got a continuous loop. Okay, so now you have one continuous loop around both sides of the bow. With a bit of care, just trying to get it away from it. You might have to bend the bow just a fraction to get it off. Alright, so once you have one area of it fixed like this, it can be really helpful to tie, just put a little bit of tape around one end to try and keep it all together, because once it gets tangled up, it can be a real nuisance to untangle. Alright, so that's one continuous loop. So in order to keep it nice and straight, what we're going to do now is put the dowel rod through one end, give it a couple of twists, like so. Place it at the end, and then taking one of your pieces of tape, wrap it around just to keep it nice and fixed. You can use this again later. Alright. So now we're going to back one side of it first, and we're going to start from the handle section. So start from the handle, so from one side of the handle here all the way across to the other side here. Now it's very useful to cut the loops here at the other end. Makes it much easier to work with, and with this razor you should be able to cut through it fairly easily. Alright, let's cut this a little bit here. So you may want to put the gloves on at this stage. If you get epoxy on your hands, you can get rid of it by putting vinegar and bicarb soda on your hands. So this has made the epoxy nice and liquid. Pop the cap off there. Can be a little tricky getting these nibs off on the end. Sharp knife or pliers, probably a bit better for this, but if you've just got the razor blade, then use that. Alright, once you've got that off, basically put the whole lot into your plastic cup. Now this step is really important because it's the cause of many bow backings failing, and that is not mixing up the epoxy well enough. You want to be stirring for a good 30 seconds at least. If the epoxy isn't mixed properly, then it just simply doesn't work. Making sure to stroke down the sides so you're getting all of it thoroughly mixed backwards and forwards.